There's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
This is Josh.
This is Dusty.
We're Salem's Crown, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey folks, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, and today's guest is none other than Josh Amburgey and Dusty Calhoun of Salem's Crown. And we're going to be talking to these boys because they're local here in Eastern Kentucky, and we need to shine some more spotlight on our metal sludge rocker bros that are around here who are fighting to get out. And it's very, very hard for Eastern Kentuckians to get out, especially for genres other than bluegrass and country.
Yeah.
Very, very hard. So how you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Good. How about you?
Doing great. Glad to have you guys on the podcast, like I said, to get you guys out a little bit further.
Oh, yeah. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yeah. We appreciate you having us.
Yeah.
What's it like being a rock, stoner, sludge band, metal band in the hills and hollers of Eastern Kentucky? Because some folks don't realize how hard this is to be that different style of music.
I don't know if it gets any tougher. I mean, you're in country music highway, country music. I mean, every festival is
Country.
banjo driven.
Yeah. If I had to use one word to sum up that question, it would for sure be frustrating.
Yeah.
Really, you get up with people, you want to have a local following, and it's not that people around here don't like rock and roll. People loves rock and roll around here. Now, of course, most people likes country, but they still love rock. And there's been times when we have scavenged a gig or something around here that we get a big outcome. And then, it'll be a few months down the road, we can message the same place back and they're be lucky to get a response, and we're like, we packed your place 3 months ago. I mean, what's the deal? And it's real depressing on that aspect of things, really.
How big of a following do you guys have, though, when you do play a show locally? Do you have a lot of supporters that come out, and not just especially for, Eastern part, but do you have any other people that pull in from every, different states possibly?
We've noticed recently, I think due to the whole Spotify, a lot of the reports on how many plays and all that you get starts coming out. But surprisingly, and I really don't know why, in Indianapolis, it seems we get more plays out of Indianapolis than anywhere. And I don't know why we've never played in Indianapolis.
No.
So I mean, why that is, I don't know. But as far as the local shows, we've had some really good turnouts. I think it's some of these places that I guess I feel like they think maybe a rock band is too much of a hassle, maybe for the sound system or something like that. So, to get a guy that's just playing flat top, maybe that's a little easier and, a little less to deal with.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we run into. I mean, a lot of the times when we gig, we really have to go anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, just down the road, and it would, I guess the thing that I'm really trying to complain is it would really be nice to have more of a, I don't know how to word it, but it would be nice to have more support from home, I mean,
yeah.
That, and I mean,
not that we're unappreciative of what we got, but I mean he's right.
I mean maybe they don't like her music. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to force it on people, but I think
Right.
I think it's good enough to play. People, when we do go and we do get a play out, we get a lot of compliments. We get contacts when we do go. It's just getting there is the thing.
But how frustrating is that to be a local band and you have to leave Eastern Kentucky just to get multiple shows? I mean, you can find one like a dime a dozen around here, but like you said, going back, that's another story. But how difficult is it for you guys to like go?
It's a huge strain, man. I mean, if anything, like you're talking, we're a 4-piece band, taking the travel, and it's not like these places end at like 9:00. Most of the time you're taking stage at 9. You're setting up. Sometimes we run our own sound, which is almost preferable, especially if it's in a bar or something, So by the time we go set up, we play 2 hours, which is usually the standardized time. We tire down, get out of there. It could be 12 or 1, and you're looking at 3 and 4 hours drive back home. It's not like we're on tour.
Right.
If that was the case, it'd be better. But and it's not like we have roadies. So I mean, it's us doing it. So it's a huge strain, man, and it makes it I guess maybe fewer and further between. Like we'll take a show. And I'll just notice how we'll get a show and we'll be like, all right. About 3 weeks later, we'll be like, all right, let's start looking for another show, instead of just the next day. Just whatever.
You have to love it because if you catch yourself at 1 a.m. packing all this heavy equipment and questioning things, you have to love it.
You got Marshall half stags and Orange. I don't know, like they're great, but I think that they got dumbbells in their in their abs or something. It's ridiculous.
And that's not counting. You got 4 guys who have to split a hotel room or pack everybody into one hotel room, food, gas. I mean, that's not cheap. That's not cheap at all. No.
And it cuts into the bill. I mean, but we're not in it for the money. I mean, I'll be the first to say it. We all have day jobs. We wish we didn't, but we do.
Oh yeah, we all do. How special is this group of guys creating music and plus your own music and not having somebody say, "Oh well, I think you guys should go this route"?
We started out, and I've been with Dusty playing music now for over 10 years,
something in that area, yeah.
But we started out, just mainly screwing around on weekends and playing covers, and and then we kind of threw out ideas, and they just kind of grew, and we was like, this is something we need to be, because the original songs seem to come pretty easy, and we picked them up, and at the moment we have over 2 hours worth of original material, but yet we only have a handful on Spotify or iTunes. But we've been playing 2 hours worth of original material for years, and it's just a matter of getting it recorded the way we want it, and hopefully we can see that happen. But as far as the group of guys go, man, it's we all love each other. We're a tight group. I think that it first and foremost, if you're friends, that goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be friends with this kind of thing, because it's like a brother kind of thing. Sometimes what I say might not be the nicest, but it's the truth. So sometimes you got to have that.
You got to bounce from it. It's a different feel too. I want to throw in there, like we still do covers, here and there, just to kind of pep the crowd up if that's what they're into. But when you have your own creation there, and especially playing live, I mean, you get this pretty much everywhere we go, you're playing one of your covers, and it might not even, or your originals. It might not even be your favorite one. It might even be your least favorite. And then you look out there in the crowd, and like he could just. That's like I explained to any of these guys, he can just be that one person that's out there that's really hardcore getting into that, and you feel that vibe, and it's a different feeling. I mean, anybody dances around to Give Me Three Steps, but whenever you throw one of ours out there, it hits different whenever you see people really enjoying that and taking that music in like that.
You guys still get the vibe when you take the stage every time? I mean, ever since that first time, do you still get that butterfly effect or anything like that? Do you still get those vibes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think that ever goes away. I
think that keeps me sharp. So
Yeah.
so I want that,
Yeah.
But what's been the hardest crowd that you thought that you wasn't going to get over, and surprisingly, oh shit, it's happening. We are getting over.
I think I got a story that might kind of relate to this. It wasn't as bad. I mean, they ended up coming around a little bit, but we did a battle of the bands up in what was that? What was that place called, Josh? It was Steam Engine.
Oh, in Irvin.
Yeah. We did a battle, and we showed up right, and we really didn't do our homework on it. And we get there, and I don't think that they really done their homework on us either. So we get there, and it's like acoustic acts. It's stuff that is not like Salem's Crown.
The first thing I had to jump in. The first thing they said like you get 3 songs and you get like 5 minutes to set up. and
we should have known, right?
So we were on stage, or we were just sitting off stage, and luckily there was acoustic. Well, there was maybe one other full band there that night,
and they was not playing rock and roll.
Oh no,
but man! It was, by the time I was still breathing hard from packing things when we started.
It was,
so.
Oh man! Well, at least you guys didn't play like a nursing home, and then you're playing your music while they're eating. I know a band who did that, and they said that everybody was almost choking, spitting their food up, and they were like a death metal band.
I didn't know they let bands in the nursing homes, really.
We may have to look into it.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
See, I'm like you, Dusty. I was like, what, you played a nursing home? They really
I didn't know that was a thing.
Hey, if they can have a full-on wrestling show in a nursing home, they can have a metal show.
Yeah.
So you guys have 2 singles recorded that haven't been released. How close are you to releasing them, and how frustrating is it to sit on these for so long?
Well, these hopefully we're aiming to have both of them out by March. So I mean, right around the corner. We've got the album artwork, or the single artwork. Releasing them both as singles. But it's so frustrating. I think, I mean, and I know this from playing in band and around bands for years, but when you get sick of it, that's when you're playing at the best. And that's the way it is, man. We've played some of these for years and years, and Now that changes for me when I get on stage with it, because I'm energized by something other than what I'm typically used to. So, but I mean, man, some of them, just like I said, we've got 2 hours worth of material, and for years now.
Yeah.
So,
I think the big thing there is we know the song so well, but when you hear the first recording of it, you're kind of just like taken aback, and you're like, and my favorite part anyway, I'm just speaking for myself, is like one of these, especially we've been playing for, I would say 7 years. Like I'm just trying to put a time frame on it, probably 7 years.
Yeah.
And
company.
Yeah. And we recorded it and we got the polished version back. And I was just like, wow, man, like, I've always loved the song. It's always been one of my favorites. But then when that song come back and I was getting to hear it, just driving down the road, through the speakers and stuff, it's just like a newfound love for that again, and that's a real special moment, I think anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. How much growth though have you seen from when you started on these songs from infancy to kind of like spreading their wings now?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's something that we're aware of too. Like it's the first rendition of them is always, I think everybody, if they really like it and we play it, everybody's like, oh, let's rush to record it. But we know enough about how we do things and how we operate that, we need to sit on them for a while because different parts kind of emerge from it naturally through the group of guys playing. So, stuff develops through that song, and we can't, we already know that the first rendition is not going to be the best, but now Company, that's the song he's talking about, and that's one of the ones we're going to release. Man, it was written. I can give you a time frame for that. He said 7 years. That's probably really close. But the song's written about the Jeff Davis 8. I wrote it about there was a serial killer down in Louisiana, and they never really caught the guy. And then they kind of loosely based True Detective. I don't know if you've seen True Detective, but they loosely based it on True Detective. So at that time that show was on. So if we could look that up and probably get a roundabout,
It's a killer little song, man. I know a lot of our stuff just goes all over the place. I mean, but this song, to me, he just reeks of like old school Southern rock. I mean, you can hear us going from 80s hair metal to outlaw country, but this song, to me anyway, it fits right in that Skinner vibe, and it's kind of what we was raised on.
Oh yeah.
Why we rock and roll today, our parents was rockers and we was too. So, and it's got a real good melody. It's got a real good progression and tells a really good story,
So is Company going to be the lead song from you guys? It's going to be the first one released or the other one? I know you said you got two.
Yeah, I'd say Company will probably come first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably coming in the next, I would say February maybe.
Okay.
And then hopefully a month later we can follow it up with Creature Eyes. We got the other one, Creature Eyes, is we went through a phase where I fell in love with a lot of the movie monsters of old, all the originals, and Creature Eyes is the old Frankenstein.
Yes, sir.
And so we got an Invisible Man one. We got
it's already actually two of these.
Yeah,
two of these has already been released. Previously, Hope to See You Around is a Invisible Man song, and then Death on Swift Wings, that's the
Mummy.
Yeah.
So I just kind of got into them and went crazy.
Yeah.
So here's $1 million question. I know, well, at least 4 that's going to be out. Okay. Are these going to end up on an album, or are these just going to be one-offs, possibly?
Man, I'll be, and I don't even mean to jump ahead, Josh, but really, that's kind of the $1 million question that we really have to anybody, because, like I'm not saying that we're terribly old, but we're still used to going into the record store and buying a disc, coming out and putting it in the CD player and listening. But it seems like nowadays it's more of a single world, and that's just what we're taking as we go. So myself personally, I would like to have that album, and have it on a disc, have it on a record, but we really don't know if that's the right way to go.
I would like to have them as a collection just because they go together. And, I know a lot of those, even I'm a huge fan of the concept albums of the Pink Floyd and things like that. So, I mean, they kind of fit together and should be listened to together. But yeah, Dusty's right. I mean, it's a single kind of thing. So you one at a time, usually now.
And that's really kind of why we've been doing it the way we've been doing, just drop them one a couple, 3 times a year. I mean, if it was by choice, we would really just go in the studio and work a weekend and have everything we had recorded, because I think, and I know Josh agree with me on this, I feel in order to get newer material, I mean, the newer stuff's there. But to get it really rolling, this older stuff we've been playing for a while has got to be finalized, and the only way to do that is record and release.
Yeah, everybody's attention span is like 3 seconds. It's like you can put something out right now, a full album, and a month and a half later, they're like, "What new stuff do you have out?"
Yeah,
right.
Put out a freaking album a month and a half, before this. Yeah, but it's kind of old. What do you have now? We have nothing.
Yeah.
Go listen to our album. And Dusty's right, man. I have to say this 1,000%. You're right. It's like you have to play the EP or single game, and I hate that.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too.
I want that full length. I want that full length album in my hand.
I tell you what I dislike about it, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong here. I listened to an album. It has 10 songs on it. And that's usually, I mean, we could round off, but that's usually it. Out of them 10 songs, I might really enjoy 5 of them.
Right.
I might think 2 of them's okay, and I might skip 3 of them completely because I just dislike them. I mean, to me or whatever, I don't feel that every song that we play that everybody's going to love, but I think that we got a song for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And I think that you hit a wider audience by producing more at once instead of just, well, we'll throw this and out, and we got to hold off 3 months to throw this other now, So
you're right. You're 1,000% right. You can put that album up on iTunes or Amazon or somewhere like that, or Spotify, and you're right. You'll see like certain songs being bought, and the rest you feel like. And I don't mean knock any band whatsoever. I mean, this is hard work that you guys put into. This is hard work.
Yeah,
you're sitting there going, what the fuck? I mean, we put all this work. And they're buying 4 songs off a 10 or 12 album release, or 10 or 12 track album release. You're like, what the fuck was all that work for?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and that's.
I'd be pissed. I'd be like,
but man, I mean, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we can have 10 originals and 4 of them really like brighten up like that, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be tickled to death about it. Just because if we did right on 4 of them, then I think that if anything can give us a direction to go in for the next album.
Maybe they would grow to love the rest.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, since you mentioned that, Dusty, do you guys like to see criticism back from fans? Like, I don't like this song. It has too much guitar, it has too much drums, it has too much bass, it has too much of blah, whatever. Do you like to see the positive and negative come back to see where you guys need to go, what you need to cut, trim the fat off of? Do you like that or no?
I don't mind that. I mean, I know we're very guitar heavy band anyway, and we do take a lot of liberties with that because that's kind of what we love and what we do. And 7-minute songs are really not everybody's thing. So I mean, we kind of
That
sometimes
fish has a huge following.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah.
I got to say.
Green Theater, but I mean, we some of the songs just to tell the story that they tell. Some of them just breathe like that. I don't know. And I mean, but the criticism, yeah, I mean, I don't mind hearing the criticism now, whether or not I change it.
That's why I was waiting to see where that come from. Now, thick skin's something we have, but that don't mean that like at the end of the day, we're going to take ours
Exactly.
over it, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it totally does, because that's what I was gonna say. At the end of the day, these are your songs. So
Exactly. Yeah.
And I like it when you said there's 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Like, fourth guitar solo, kick it off, let's go.
Yeah. We get carried away like that sometimes. I mean, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean,
Any tracks standing out to you guys more than any right now that you have out or that you're working on that you guys dig, man? Are there any tracks that stand out for the both of you possibly? And I know these are your babies, trust me.
Oh yeah. I'll be honest with you, and I'm just hopping here. We got this song. We've actually tested the waters with this guy at a few shows, and I see a lot of movement when we play it, and it sets off an energy, and that I love, and I mean it's not even so much. I'm not even going to sit and say that this song's better than any other song that we play, but it has this energy to it, and it really lightens up, and it makes you want to move. I mean, it's so fun to play. It's so great to listen to. So I'm really excited about getting back in the studio and later on down the road and getting this guy cranked. I think it's just a fun song, Rooster. Yeah, it's a really fun song.
Yeah, that's another one in the Movie Monster series.
Yeah.
I was wondering, he had me on some
suspense for a minute, Josh.
Yeah, he built it up. I was curious myself.
I can't just unveil, all at once. What fun is that?
There's a punk version of it's a horror band, Blitz Kid. They did a cover of, not a cover, but it's their own original song of Michael Myers called 1038.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm waiting to see another heavy band come out and do their own version of Michael Myers song, something like that. Because I'm a horror fan through and through.
I am too.
Yeah.
My Halloween is my favorite franchise, excluding Rob Zombie's ones. Sorry, but no. These new ones that are out, I'm kind of iffy. The first one I dug. The first one I absolutely loved. But I don't want to see Michael riding around in an electric wheelchair, still trying to trying to gun people and try to kill them or whatever. So I think, I don't know, man. Maybe there's a twist of where his spirit kind of like goes to somebody else and takes over them, kind of like the whole Chuck.
Now they kind of already done that on the Jason series. What was that? Jason Goes to Hell, where like his heart. Yeah, they had to eat the heart, and then he was strapped in a vessel, and he had to keep getting new vessels till he found his own bloodline. But it can happen with Michael. I can see it.
It's got to come to some point where everything's got to end, and there's got to be new stuff. There's got to be new serial killers or thrasher or slashers, I should say. They could be thrashers too. I don't care. They could be slashers. They have to be new ones that come out. They have. Yeah,
they've kind of beat the stuff to death, and then they try to go in with like the paranormal. I can't pronounce that word.
Paranormal.
Yeah, they try to come in with that stuff, and it kicked off there for a minute, but it didn't last long. I kind of grew up with that. So yeah, it's time to get a new knife, man. I mean, that's
get rid of that old butcher knife or whatever. We'll help you, Mike. We'll get you some axe or something other. machete, something or other. We'll help you.
Yeah.
Was there a track, guys, that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than when it was intended to? Was there one that kept changing, possibly, or you guys got frustrated with that you thought would never see the end of the day?
Well, with company, me, I usually do pretty good. I don't just me personally, but I usually do pretty good with working out solos ahead of time. But for that one, it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me when I was playing it, so I had to change some things up. And kind of did that on the fly. But I would say that one, and then we released one a while back called "Hillbilly We Fall," and
that had a complete key change.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty atypical of what we do, really. I just got on a kick about being frustrated with the area, just to be honest, and how that's what you were talking about earlier. Just nobody giving you a shot, and things being difficult in the mountains, and I mentioned a lot of that in the song, and I just tore into it, and then it came across when we started playing it, it came across as more of a outlaw country kind of song, and I didn't really know how to take that at first because I pride myself on rock and roller, but I was like, that's pretty cool. So we just hammered it out and recorded it a while back. So
really, I think the best thing to do, and I mean, I'll say this out loud. Josh, he writes the majority. There's a couple I'll throw in here and there. The real thing is you bring the song up, you play it in the mic, and if you look around and people's conversing while you're playing it, it's not a good song. If you play it in the mic and you spark some interest, then it makes it to the band, and then you're teaching it to people. We really allow these songs to kind of go in the direction that they need to go, and Josh said this a little bit ago. I'm going to bring it up again. We really have learned that our processes, they really have to breathe. We can't just, we're not the band that can go and be like, all right, guys, we're gonna have this album created by next month. So let's write, let's record, let's release. Because it might be a song 6 months down the road that somebody's like, hey, why don't we do this? And we're like, wow, that really helped that. And I mean, and that's important to us.
I'll say this about it too. These guys are a hard sell on the songs. They're hard to sell. They really are. And I'm not even gonna bitch about that. I mean, they're a hard sell, and I really appreciate that though, because that's I talked about earlier. That's the brotherhood side of things. That if it's not good, well, okay, next. So,
and I think it's that aspect of it that makes us so prideful about our music, because we don't just take anything that we got pen to paper on.
Sure,
it's got to satisfy us before we can see if it satisfies everybody else.
And that's your brand that you're putting out there, man. You don't want to put something out like shit and be like, I think we should have spent like a couple more months on that song.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of music that's been forced out there, and you're just like, oh, two good ones, rest. Where'd they go? They didn't stay there. They didn't stay there. Going forward, guys, is this the sound that we're getting from Salem's Crown, or are you guys just scratching that surface?
Man, I really have to throw this out. Like, it seems like a lot of the newer stuff we have is really exploring back into the 80s, and I'm really loving that. I mean, that feel we're getting from a lot of these new songs that Josh is bringing up. Some of the new songs I've been working on. It just seems like we're getting a small bit heavier. We're getting a small bit faster. It's not necessarily a skill thing. It's just how the songs are producing here lately. And so I think that, I think that there is going to be a bit of change. Not drastically. I think it's going to still be the same tone, the same everything else. But I think that there's still a lot of rock and roll in us, and I think that we're going to hit every corner of the rock and roll field until one takes, or everybody insists that it takes, or either or.
What do you hope everyone takes away while listening to these new songs from Salem's Crown, or just any of these songs that get released? It's any of your stuff. What do you hope they get from it, guys?
Well, me personally, I'm a stickler for the story, and I would like for people just to not only, I know there's a lot of places to turn and a lot of bands that people are familiar with, but like with Hillbilly We Fall, it's personal to this area, and I know that I'm not the only one that feels that way. So, that relatability for this area, for a lot of the people here that may be rock and rollers and may be frustrated with the music scene, or that may feel as though their voice isn't heard, or they're not really represented because of the heavy country influence. I just just locally, I just hope I connect with some of those guys, because that's, to me at the moment, that's really what I want. I would love for just people locally that were still rock and rollers, that were into that, could find some relatability to the song and really enjoy saying, hey, there's somebody else that feels that way too.
I know that you guys had a lot of influences in music growing up. I know that you still have new stuff that you find today. But do you have a go-to album, or maybe just a song that you find yourselves going back to and listening to from time to time? You just cannot kick it out. You have to eventually go back and listen to it. It just eats at you.
For me or whatever, my influence started with Black Sabbath. I remember just being a kid, and me and my dad driving down the road, and he was, of course, a rocker. He actually used to play bass for us until he passed. And he put some Sabbath in there, and I was a little bitty guy, probably 6, 7, and I just heard them riffs, and I was like, wow, what is that? I was like, this is great. Like, and he just took off for me there, and next thing I know, I'm digging a record player out and listening to Maiden and more Sabbath and Ozzy, mainly in the Randy Rhoads era. I love Jake E. Lee too. I didn't want to offend you, Josh. But just all that stuff, and I mean, throw in Zeppelin. I'll even, these guys give me a hard time saying I don't like the Rolling Stones, but I have to say the Stones too. I mean, just any of that stuff, and it changes. It changes, like now I like to listen to a lot of Mastodon and a lot of Ghost, and really to kind of take influence from them guys too. All great musicians.
I'm a huge, and I always have been, I'm a huge Deep Purple, Rainbow, Ritchie Blackmore fan. Man, I can remember all that stuff growing up, and it just really, there was nothing else like it, and I know a lot of people probably have that same kind of connection with that. But as far as something I turn to just when, just an old standby, and it may, and I love heavy music, and I love a lot of Tool and things like that. But I go back to the Alice in Chains Unplugged a lot, and I mean, I can't ignore that album. It just keeps resurfacing, and for some reason, if you're feeling down and out, you put it on and you down and out with them.
Yeah. All of a sudden, your problems don't seem important anymore because you're like, wow, them guys really,
So,
with all that money, they had it worse.
And there were some MTV Unplugged shows back in the day when they first started it that were so powerful. I mean, powerful unplugs like Kiss. The Kiss one that they did was.
I remember those. Yeah.
You had Nirvana. Nirvana's one was
it was great,
unbelievable. Alice in Chains, like you said, even Pearl Jam's one, man. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
But those days are far few in between now for some reason.
Oh yeah. And I always had a theory on that too of like why that was great. Why it was great. I was like, like I like it when it's rocking, but then I also like it when it's unplugged. And I'm like, and I was like, well, it's taking it back to its origin. Because these guys are probably writing these songs on acoustic guitars.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then they're coming in and then they're introducing it just kind of like we do. We introduce it to the band and it has to satisfy everybody else for us before it satisfies everybody else,
I say this a lot too. There's a band that's from Australia and I absolutely love them. Midnight Oil. Their acoustic stuff that they did was just so fucking good. I mean, and it's like you said, Dusty, you see the bands like stripped down to how the song started on that acoustic. And it's like, wow, the acoustic version's better. Lots of times.
Yeah. I
got to ask this too. Since we're homeboys here from Eastern Kentucky, we know the frustrations that we all go through. But when writing your lyrics for these songs, how much of Eastern Kentucky and home go into these lyrics and, putting them out there for people to see through what we go through?
Man, they find their way into places that I wouldn't expect them to. It is, I guess anybody's just going to pull from what they know. And I mean, this is what I know. So, I mean, something like, Hillbilly We Fall or,
really any song.
Yeah. There's a lot of them that,
I mean, the language we use, the way the words are wrote. I mean,
and sometimes I'll put a little something that's local, a town or just slang for something around, something like that, and I mean, not everybody's going to get that. And I know that, and I kind of want that. So
you're probably not going to catch us in a song calling a pop a soda,
Little Eastern Kentucky teasers there, folks. And I love our language. I don't care what anybody says. Southern people are the best people on earth.
They are.
You are. They'll take you in just about. So
yeah.
All right, Josh and Dusty, how can folks stay in touch with Salem's Crown, buy these singles, all this good stuff to keep up with you guys? How can they do that?
Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, Instagram, all the platforms pretty much. Just look us up, keep track. We're better about Facebook than just about anything. We got a presence on Instagram, but a lot of the show announcements and stuff like that, we use Facebook pretty exclusively. But Spotify, anywhere you listen to music, you should be able to find us.
Before I let you guys go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Well, of course.
Sure. This is Josh.
This is Dusty.
We're Salem's Crown, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody, stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Get out and check out the Facebook page and also the YouTube page. You want to go out and subscribe to our YouTube page, click the subscribe button and all that good stuff. That way you'll get notifications for what we got going on. And we have a lot of good stuff. Get out and check out Salem's Crown. Pick up their singles, everything that they've got out there. And I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father. And we'll see you next time here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Guys, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And make Eastern Kentucky more proud, guys.
Doing our best, man.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.